For broadcast on May 31st, track 1. Politics are a lot different today from what they were 16 years ago. It's difficult to imagine a rock group being born at a political rally nowadays. But that's what happened to the Jackson 5. That story after this for Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo and Cream Rinse.
Listen to the everyday world. It can get on your nerves. And haven't you noticed? When you feel bad, even your hair feels bad to you. It feels limp and lifeless. Come, follow me to another world.
Come into the garden of earthly delights.
Experience Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo and you will feel like you are in a wild, enchanted garden where mysterious fragrances surround you. It will leave your hair so clean and conditioned it will shine. Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo with natural protein. Your hair will feel out of this world.
Then experience Clairol Herbal Essence Cream Rinse. Your fresh, shining hair will comb like silken flax and feel as smooth and delicate as the petals of rare flowers. Clairol Herbal Essence Cream Rinse. A cream rinse your hair will remember.
They were created out of the new politics of the 1960s, singing one night at a political fundraising affair in their hometown of Gary, Indiana, the first major northern city to elect a black man mayor, in this case, Richard Hatcher. Tito Jackson will tell you that the Jackson 5 were discovered by a famous lady who was in their audience that night.
Anna Ross was his guest. She asked us to Motown and we performed in front of Berry Gordy's staff. He got a record contract on us and made us very successful.
In fact, no black group in American pop music history has ever been so successful. But before them, probably no other black group could proclaim as earnestly as Marlon Jackson proclaims today.
If you're good, you're good. And if the people like you, they'll go out and buy your records. It doesn't matter what color you are or whatever.
Still, the fact remains that no other black group in America has ever been adored like the Jackson 5. Their pictures hang above the beds of millions of teenage girls, both black and white. Surprisingly, 17-year-old Michael Jackson, the group's sex symbol, says he never has been able to get used to seeing himself in teen fan magazines.
I really don't like to see myself in the magazines.
Why not?
Well, I just don't like to look at myself in pictures.
They don't come out.
They don't come out good. Really, they don't come out good.
Well, how do you feel about that role, though, them being sought after by those, teeny boppers?
I mean, like at the concerts and screaming and breaking down barricades. I like excitement.
The fan magazines. The Jackson 5 have really never known what to make of them. There was a time when a magazine learned that the group had once been involved in an auto accident many years ago. The magazine plastered the news on the cover, making it appear as if the event had just happened and that the brothers were nearly killed. Says Jermaine Jackson.
People were just buying it because it said something about death to Jackson 5 on the cover of this magazine, and people was buying it.
When you picked up that magazine and saw the story, what went on in your head?
I said, wow, they putting all this stuff together, trying to make sales in the magazine, which they did. Because when I first saw it, I bought one myself because I knew that what the situation was about. And they put together this big story, and people were buying it.
A good deal of craziness goes along with rock and roll stardom. Fans of the Jackson 5 have died at their concerts, they claim, and the members of the group always have an eye searching for some jealous boyfriend who might attack them. They'll be talking about that in a later report. This is Lou Irwin, Earth News Radio, for Clairol Herbal Essence. For broadcast on May 31st, track 2. When you're as big as the Jackson 5, you've got to be concerned about safety, your own and that of your audience. And today, the Jackson 5 say there have been injuries and even deaths at their performances. We'll be talking about that after this for Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo and Bubbling Body Bath.
Listen to the everyday world. What your hair has to go through. Rain, harsh winds, or sticky heat. Making your hair feel as bad as the weather to you. Dirty and drab. Come, follow me to a more beautiful world.
Come into the garden of earthly delights.
Experience Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo and you will feel like you are in a wild, enchanted garden where mysterious fragrances surround you. It will leave your hair so clean and conditioned it will shine. Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo with natural protein. Your hair will feel out of this world.
Now relax with Clairol Herbal Essence Bubbling Body Bath. Bubbles to scent, to cleanse, to soften you, to set your mind free. Clairol Herbal Essence Bubbling Body Bath. Your body will thank you for it.
2 years ago, an appearance by David Cassidy in London touched off a riot that ended in hundreds of injuries and one death. The Jackson 5 were scheduled to follow Cassidy into England, and when they heard about the riots, they canceled their plans, says Tito Jackson.
We heard about the thing that happened over there, so we decided to lay back and stay at home because we were looking out for the people, not before our benefit of the money, and we didn't want anybody to get hurt.
And people have been hurt at Jackson 5 performances, says Michael Jackson.
It's happened many times to us, but we just don't promote ours like David Cassidy does on the news for promotion.
But a lot of people have gotten hurt at your concerts.
Right. A lot of people have gotten hurt.
If we see that the crowd is getting out of hand and people are really rushing the stage and the whole crowd is pushing each other, what we usually do is stop the show,
Right.
ask everybody to sit down, and if they don't, we walk off stage, and the disc jockey usually does it, and he said we won't come back until everybody's seated and calm down.
Yet it doesn't always work, for sometimes the attempt to calm down an audience occurs too late. Michael Jackson can't get rid of the memories of scenes of violence that have played themselves out at J5 performances.
One time we did a state fair in Milwaukee. It was 150,000, biggest crowd we ever drew. And 2 people had a heart attack. And that was the only time somebody ever died. But I couldn't say.
How does something like that affect you all? I mean, what do you talk about? What goes through your heads when you know that you're the center of that kind of attention? I mean, that kind of frenzy.
Well, we just hate to hear it because, well, we try to have security to hold the crowd down, but they break the barricades anyway. And we're not that afraid because we know they're standing out there.
And yet the Jackson 5, the love objects of millions, are also the hate objects of countless others. Their fan mail generally includes a few threats from jealousy-crazed boys, threats that they have to take seriously. More on that when this interview with the Jackson 5 continues tomorrow. This is Lou Irwin, Earth News Radio, for Clairol Herbal Essence. For broadcast on June 1st, track 1. You just never know when a record is likely to become a hit. In fact, Elvin Bishop had been cutting records for over 10 years before he cut his first hit tune. And that happened by accident. That story after this for Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo.
Listen to the everyday world. You can almost feel it in your hair, the smoke and pollution, and smell it in your hair too. If your hair feels bad, it's no wonder. Come, follow me to another world.
Come into the garden of earthly delight.
Experience Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo, and you will feel like you're somewhere in a world far beyond the everyday world. In a garden paradise where mysterious green herbs and wildflowers surround you. It will leave your hair so clean and conditioned it will shine and feel alive again. And how excited your hair will be. Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo with natural protein. Your hair will feel out of this world.
Come into the garden of earthly delight.
Elvin Bishop had been cutting records for over 10 years before he finally recorded a hit, and no one could have been more taken aback by his sudden success than Elvin himself. In fact, he says,
the record Fooled Around and Fell in Love ended up on the album by an accident. We had done all the rest of our material and found out we were about 4 or 5 minutes short on time, so I said, well, let me pull out this old dog that I wrote about 4 or 5 years ago and see what we can do with that. And it ends up being the single.
disc jockeys at progressive radio stations just started playing Fooled Around, and before Elvin knew, it was released as a single and climbing up the record charts. And what went on in Elvin's mind when he suddenly awoke to discover that he was now a big star?
Happiness, relief. I go to sleep at night, I count dollars instead of sheeps.
Now, it's not that Elvin is shopping around for a limousine or whining and dining beautiful ladies now that he's a big pop star.
It's as simple as this. Money buys you freedom. Hit singles buy you money. There you go.
What are you going to do with the money?
Feel free. No, up to now, I've had to take jobs because I needed the money. Now I'll be able to say, well, would I really rather go do this job or would I rather go fishing this weekend, you know? It's nice to be in that kind of shape.
Not that Elvin's been able to do much fishing these days. In fact, success has meant longer working hours and more time on the road, he says. It also means spending a lot more time talking on the telephone.
The hit single will give you a little insight into where certain people are really at. Some people have been friends of mine all along, still are, and it's very nice. Some people who didn't want to be bothered with me before are suddenly very, very enthusiastic about the Bishop kid, you know. So, forget him. Who needs it?
Still, Elvin Bishop says that he always knew that someday he would make it. The fact that it took 10 years is not really of much concern to him.
Well, that's the way it goes. Late bloomer, I guess I must be.
This is Lou Irwin, Earth News Radio, for Clairol Herbal Essence. For broadcast on June 1st, track 2. Michael Jackson. When you think of him, you think of cuteness, soulfulness, and charm. You don't think of Ernest Hemingway. But would you believe that Michael Jackson is into Hemingway? We'll be talking to him after this for Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo and Cream Rinse.
Listen to the everyday world. It can get on your nerves. And haven't you noticed? When you feel bad, even your hair feels bad to you. It feels limp and lifeless. Come, follow me to another world.
Come into the garden of earthly delights.
Experience Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo and you will feel like you are in a wild, enchanted garden where mysterious fragrances surround you. It will leave your hair so clean and conditioned it will shine. Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo with natural protein. Your hair will feel out of this world.
Then experience Clairol Herbal Essence Cream Rinse. Your fresh, shining hair will comb like silken flax and feel as smooth and delicate as the petals of rare flowers. Clairol Herbal Essence Cream Rinse. A cream rinse your hair will remember.
The thing that impresses about the Jackson 5 is that after nearly 7 years as one of the most popular singing groups in America, they are still so normal. Who would have imagined 17-year-old Michael Jackson loaning a paperback Hemingway novel to an Australian writer?
Oh, yeah, I read 2 of his stories so far. Old Man in the Sea, which is my favorite. Since I liked it so much, it was this other writer from Australia. I gave her a copy and she read it and she liked it. Like to share my books.
And yet the public lives of the Jackson 5 are anything but normal, says Marlon Jackson.
You have to, work at it all the time. If you want to be good, you got to work, and so you can stay on top. And it's very hard, and you don't get too much rest. And you just work if you want to be up there and stay up there.
Staying up there is no easy trick. They say they would like to become the American Beatles, and in fact, their last album did get a considerable amount of play on FM progressive stations a year ago. But the Jackson 5 are not yet an institution. They are still regarded, by and large, as bubblegum heroes. A bubblegum hero is not a role that is easy to play. Every night they perform, Tito worries.
When I get up there, I'm always looking around. I don't be looking at the girls, I be watching the guys. Because, like you were saying, sometimes there's some jealous people out there, and if their girlfriends are screaming at Jermaine, Michael, or me, and there's some guys who don't dig that, and to get back at the girlfriend, they do something to you to harm you. It's never happened to us, but we have had some threats.
And no matter how normal the private lives of the Jackson 5 may appear, there is no way that any pop music star can live normally. They are not, after all, dancing machines. This is Lou Irwin, Earth News Radio, for Clairol Herbal Essence. For broadcast on June 2nd, track 1. What do cigarette rolling papers have to do with high flying? Well, we'll be talking about that in a minute. First this for Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo and Body Powder.
Listen to the everyday world. You can almost feel it in your hair, the smoke and pollution, and smell it in your hair too. If your hair feels bad, it's no wonder. Come, follow me to another world.
Come into the garden of earthly delights.
Experience Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo, and you will feel like you are in a wild, enchanted garden where mysterious fragrances surround you. It will leave your hair so clean and conditioned it will shine. Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo with natural protein. Your hair will feel out of this world.
Now, silken your skin with Clairol Herbal Essence Body Powder. It will cool you with the fragrance of an April dawn and freshen you down to your toes. Clairol Herbal Essence Body Powder. Your body will thank you for it.
To fly, to soar through the air like a bird with no sound but the wind. A dream that has been with us since the beginning of history. Probably the closest mankind has come to realizing that dream of flying under his own power is the sport of hang gliding. Jim Aronson often does it for a living.
I don't want to die in any way, and I don't want to get hurt in any way, and I hate sitting in a hospital room looking outside when it's nice out. All I want to do is I want to fly.
Aronson is a professional hang glider pilot. He captains a team of pilots, the first hang gliding team to be sponsored by a commercial firm. His sponsor, the company that makes Easy Wider cigarette rolling papers. Aronson and his team tour the United States, competing in meets, performing stunts.
It's like hitting frisbees on the ground, landing a glider as close to a spot as you can. I think that that doesn't prove very much to me. But on the other hand, there are events where pilot skill really comes in, like maintaining altitude and duration of flight, which requires skill on the part of the pilot and also a good flying machine.
Given a good flying machine, what makes a good pilot?
A good pilot is someone who can maintain his concentration on what he's doing and has ability to judge what's happening in the air. And in hang gliding, judgment is about 90% of what you're doing, and skill is about 10%. So judgment's really the key to success in hang gliding.
Tens of thousands of people throughout the world have become hang glider freaks. Hundreds of novices start flying every month. People who have never flown an airplane, let alone jumped into the sky hanging from a mixture of aluminum tubing, wire bracing, and a fabric wing. Sound dangerous?
Hang gliding is dangerous depending on the attitude of the pilot. And a lot of the people that get into hang gliding, unfortunately, are the type of people who are prone to take chances, are into displays of machismo. This type of person is really setting himself up for getting hurt in hang gliding, because it's easy to get hurt in hang gliding.
It sounds dangerous. We'll be talking with Aronson about how he faces that danger later. This is Lou Irwin, Earth News Radio, for Clairol Herbal Essence. For broadcast on June 2nd, Track 2. How would you like to fly like a bird? Well, we'll be talking to a man who does it for a living. After this, for Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo.
Listen to the everyday world. What your hair has to go through. Rain, harsh winds, or sticky heat. Making your hair feel as bad as the weather to you. Dirty and drab. Come, follow me to a more beautiful world.
Come into the garden of earthly delights.
Experience Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo, and you will feel like you're somewhere in a world far beyond the everyday world. In a garden paradise where mysterious green herbs and wildflowers surround you. It will leave your hair so clean and conditioned it will shine and feel alive again. And how excited your hair will be. Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo with natural protein. Your hair will feel out of this world.
Come into the garden of earthly delights.
So you think you want to fly like a bird. Well, you take some aluminum tubing, some wire braces, a fabric wing, some 20 feet wide, put it all together in the right way, and presto, you have a hang glider. People are doing it, tens of thousands all over the world, feeling like, well, eagles. Wherever there's a dune, a hill, a mountain, you're liable to find a hang glider. But be content to watch at first, because it takes a certain kind of person to fly one.
A lot of people tell me I'm into the old LDW, a latent death wish. I don't want to die in any way. All I want to do is I want to fly. There's a possibility I can get hurt, and there's a possibility you can get hurt doing a lot of things. And I'm willing to take that risk because, I just really enjoy my life, and that's the way it is.
Jim Aronson is the captain of a professional hang gliding team, the first such team to be sponsored by a commercial firm, the manufacturer of Easy Wider's cigarette rolling papers. Aronson has toured the United States hang gliding, and he knows the dangers. In a sport where a person may be killed or injured, some people might call him a thrill seeker.
There isn't a person that's listening to this that doesn't want to fly. I mean, there are people who say, that's really nice, I'd like to do it, but I'm afraid of doing it. But everybody would love to actually feel what I'm feeling when I'm flying. So to call me a thrill seeker because I'm inclined towards that activity and actually doing that activity, I feel that's inaccurate.
Aronson, who is a married man, says his wife doesn't mind if her husband wants to risk his life on the whim of the wind.
My old lady's really cool. We have kind of an understanding about me doing my thing and she does hers, and I really dig her for that.
Meanwhile, Aronson is thinking about his new glider.
It's a wing. It weighs 50 pounds, and I bolt onto that 20 pounds worth of chainsaw motor and propeller. And I can take off from flat ground with that and climb at 300 feet a minute.
But after talking with Aronson, we can't believe he'll be satisfied with that. He'll be looking toward the future for something bigger, faster, and better.
There's somebody coming out with a new flying machine every week, and I keep getting my mind blown every time I see a new one.
Jim Aronson. You might call him one of the new breed of daring young men in their flying machines. This is Lou Irwin, Earth News Radio, for Clairol Herbal Essence. For broadcast on June 3rd, track 1. Should the Catholic Church stay out of the bedroom? Yes, says one well-known priest, and we'll be talking to him after this for Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo and Cream Rinse.
Listen to the everyday world. It can get on your nerves. And haven't you noticed? When you feel bad, even your hair feels bad to you. It feels limp and lifeless. Come, follow me to another world.
Come into the garden of earthly delights.
Experience Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo, and you will feel like you are in a wild, enchanted garden where mysterious fragrances surround you. It will leave your hair so clean and conditioned it will shine. Clairol Herbal Essence Shampoo with natural protein. Your hair will feel out of this world.
Then experience Clairol Herbal Essence Cream Rinse. Your fresh, shining hair will comb like silken flax and feel as smooth and delicate as the petals of rare flowers. Clairol Herbal Essence Cream Rinse. A cream rinse your hair will remember.
Father James Groppe first gained national attention in the mid-'60s. He was a leader of civil rights protests. Later on, Father Groppe took issue with the Vietnam War and the government's treatment of the American Indian. The nation's newspapers were filled with pictures of the priest battling the National Guard, leading a march of demonstrators, hassling with the police. Now he's taken on another target, perhaps his biggest so far, the Catholic Church. The 45-year-old priest has defied a church law. He has taken a wife.
The most effective and dynamic clergyman of our time, and perhaps in American history, was a married man, and that is Dr. Martin Luther King. And are we to say that he was ineffective because he was married? I think it's absurd.
But King was not a Catholic priest. Groppe has disobeyed the sacred oath he took when he entered the priesthood 17 years ago. Now he looks on those years and the 9 years of training it took to get there as a waste of money.
I have seen men whom the church has sent to Louvain, to Rome, to Innsbruck, to study. Brilliant men. They've come back, they've functioned in the priesthood for a few years, and they've gotten married, and they were kicked out. Mandatory celibacy in that light becomes an economic disaster.
Some people feel that way about Major League Baseball and its treatment of players who want to leave one club to join another. But religion, Father Groppe says, is not baseball. And besides, he says he doesn't want to leave the church. In fact, he believes he can better serve it as a married man.
You know, I'd like to see the church get out of the bedroom a little more. The church concentrates on the Sixth Commandment to almost an insane degree. And I'd like to see it concentrate a little more on the seventh, on justice and on the great commandment of love. I'd like to see it concentrate a little more on the peace issue and the elimination of the arms race.
Issues which Father Grappi has been involved with all his life. And to those people who say, won't that priest ever learn? Well, Father Grappi takes comfort in remembering his past clashes with authority.
When I look back at those battles, and we have never lost a battle. We've always won. There was never one action that I couldn't look at and say, well, these were the victories.
In Father James Grappi's fight with the Catholic Church over his marriage, well, for him, it's just another battle on the way to winning the war. This is Lou Irwin, Earth News Radio, for Clairol Herbal Essence.